Welcome to this edition of the $1 Million Mastermind Podcast. This is where we pick the brains of high achievers from all walks of life and get their hard-earned, real-world insights on winning. I'm your host, Larry Weidel. Particular aspect of the leadership of these people, what do those words mean to you? That you would want people to understand?
Well, it goes back to enrollment. You have to become a master enroller. You have to have those people be able to see the vision with you and link their own values with the core values that you hold and the company. And that's what my book is about. It's called Unicorn Team.
Yeah.
And most people are disconnected from the core values of a company because they're not living it. And what I've been able to do is my team, my core leadership team has been with me for 10 years, which is unheard of.
Right.
And the reason is because I run my team this way, and I always have, even in the corporate world. And so leadership means enrollment to me. It means being able to let the person see their part in the future with the idea. And when you do that, they come with you.
As a part of that, re-enrolling them again and again and again. It's like one of the guys, he I don't know if he's how many hundreds of millions he's worth today, but he said when he first came in and he worked side by side with the founder, he said every Monday morning I'd get there and come in, and he'd say, "Bobby, come in here." He said, "You can't believe how lucky we are. Look what's happening here. I mean, the chance to go out here and revolutionize an industry." And he said, and he said, every Monday he'd go on 10, 15 minutes and he'd say, "I have to say, stop. I'm already recruited."
Exactly.
I got it.
I love that. One of the rules of sales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't leaving it to chance,
Yeah.
He was going to pump his butt right back up again. Just,
Yeah. You got to find a way as a leader to help people on your team get motivated from themselves,
right.
And to dig into why they're there and why they decided. And the other thing is how to transition people out of your company. Leadership is also allowing people to grow out or up or whatever, and having the maturity to know how to do that so you don't have bad blood. I mean, again, this is how I was able to retain, I think, my relationships in the corporate world is trust it and believe it. Okay, Larry, people would say I'm kind of an intimidating woman. I have no problem saying what's up. And that's a different, again, asteroid field that I've had to navigate than, frankly, my male counterparts. And all I have to do, I think, the more you want to be successful, you just got to keep modeling who you really are. That's leadership to me. It's like model who you really are, and then get mentored by people whose leadership style you admire, and be willing to be mentored. Don't get into your ego just because you've created success. And I've gotten into my ego, and I've learned really the hard way not to get too ahead of myself. So
with brand development, what do people need to think about, in terms of keeping it fresh and keeping it expanding and keeping people excited about the brand? Is it just the expansion? Is it just new products? Is it what would you say is the thing that people are some of the things people can do to keep, maybe does a brand need to be refreshed periodically? What do you say about keeping the excitement there in the brand?
Okay. So first, let me give some context. My definition of brand is it is the business. The business is the brand. Okay. And people think that, branding is about aesthetics mainly only. And that's not true. In fact, it's in my experience, it's the least important of everything, because once people recognize aesthetically who you are, like Starbucks, McDonald's, FedEx, you've already done the things that matter. And this is the things that matter. So I just want to say that first. The second thing is there are three types of brands. There are company brands, personal brands, and offer brands. Okay. Of the three, the offer is the most important to get right. Okay.
Okay.
The offer is the product, the service, the thing, right? Because if you can make headway with the product, then the company is going to grow. And that's the way it works. Number 3, the personal brand is typically the founder of the company. And people always ask me, like, how important is it? I think it is important now. I used to not. Because I mean, even look at what Elon Musk is up to. You know, we put CEOs and founders on a pedestal. And so they always have been, but because of social media, it's even more prevalent. And so you asked, how do people think about expanding their brand? Well, it's really your personal brand that expands the brand in many ways. Marketing expands the offer brand, marketing of that, right?
Yeah.
And scaling that and experience. So brand experience, like literally, you know, delivering the promise that you said you were going to give, right? That's what the offer cares about. The personal brand's job is to be the Sherpa or the North Star for the brand out in the market, whoever the market is. And you have to know your character. It's a character in brand development. It's a character. It's a persona that you take on that is true to you, but also meets where the market is. And so, you know, I tell people who are like trying to expand their brand, ask yourself, like, how does your personal brand interface with your offers? And do you use social media to do that? And which social media? Because I think that's also, I mean, I can't tell you how irritated I am about this whole social media thing. And it's not because I'm old and craggy or a seasoned chicken. It's because people aren't choosing the right social media for their personal brand and their offer brand. So like, if you're a creative, you should be on Instagram, you should be on Pinterest. But if you're in the services arena, you should be on YouTube, LinkedIn, and maybe Facebook. But you have to pick the right social media platform for your offers. If you want to scale your brand, you shouldn't be on everything. You should be where your customers are. And number 2, you know, there's a lot of opportunity offline, meaning where the world is going is there's like it's 2 hemispheres. There's AI and then there's people, right?
Yeah.
And there's so much money to be made and impact to be made on the people side still. People think of automation, artificial intelligence, and outsourcing as like, that's where the world is going. It is going there, but we still need people to make those decisions. And people like to buy things. And so think of yourself as like, are you more strong at being an offline brand than you are as an online brand? And if you are, double down on that. So those are kind of some ideas that will help, I hope, people listen.
Well, I know you're excited about a variety of projects, but in terms of business, what has given you consistently the biggest kick and the biggest been the biggest source of continual inspiration to you to keep you? I want to write a book. I want to do this. I want to, you know. And so, like, are you expanding your offices to, you know, what is the plan for the Master Brand Institute? Is there an expansion plan there? Is there what are sources of inspiration for you right now that you can get super excited about or are super excited about?
Yeah, I mean, I look at this next season of my life to be the season of basically sharing everything I know in ways that more people can access it. I love that you kind of mentioned that earlier, Larry. So books, speaking, mentoring, right? Yeah. Really focused on the way that I do things. I want, if it makes sense for the people who want to or curious about that way, to be able to access my wisdom, because I've earned this wisdom, right? I would say, like, I'm a seasoned chicken, not a spring chicken. And I'm going into my decade of my 50s next year. And so that decade for me is about, I have nothing to prove, I have nothing to hide, I have nothing to protect, and I have nothing to defend. And therefore, anything I know, I can give to you. So those forms are being, that's what motivates me, is like dying empty, I like to say.
For those of you who are sick and tired of fooling around and are dead serious about wanting to move up fast, I've got something especially for you. I've combined the best insights from over 40 years in business and making $70 million in income and compressed them into a free webinar. That's right, it's a free resource. If you want to find out exactly what the concepts are that I use in coaching $1 million earners, register now at WeidelOnWinning.com. You'll discover the 5-part framework used by so many to reach their financial, personal, and professional goals. You can find that link in this episode's show notes.
I don't want to die full of what I know. I want to die empty of what I know so I can be peaceful about everything I've earned someone knows and can take forward.
And so who are the people that you, I think I know the answer to this, but who are the people that you find most inspiring to you that are worth your time to talk to? And, we all need motivation, motivation is like moisture. Motivation's like moisture. People say, well, I don't want another motivating meeting. You idiot. If anybody needs another motivating meeting, it's you. Otherwise, you wouldn't say that,
Right.
Because you're obviously dead as a tree in the desert, But what do you, to stay excited, you got to do things and meet people and interact. What are the things in your life that you find are invigorating? And with 3 kids and a business and everything, time is at a premium. So what do you force yourself to take and make time for?
So number one, I've always been a bookaholic. And so I read a book once a week. On Mondays, that's my book reading day. And so, and it's mainly nonfiction because I enjoy learning wisdom from other people. And so, if you read like Warren Buffett and Bill Gates, they'll tell you like one of their number one things is read books. And it's true. And I've been doing that before I heard that advice. So that's the first thing. I think the second thing is when you ask like whose wisdom do I find worthwhile like ingesting, if you will, and keeps me motivated. So number one is Ray Dalio. I don't know if you've ever read his work, Dalio.
Yes.
His books, and by the way, you have to be somebody who's committed to read his books because they're thick. Yeah. But he has the same value system that I feel like I have, which is he wants to die empty. The difference between him and me is I'm not a billionaire. He is. But his books are just, I could like read them all the time because they're so wise. They're so pragmatic. He's so honest about how political structure and other forces have make us make decisions. And I think that, if you care about the business world, he's great. The other person I read a lot is Ryan Holiday. He writes a lot about Stoicism. One of the best books on enrollment that I've ever read is Perennial Seller. It's called Perennial Seller. And then, I'm going to say this out loud. I haven't read a book written by a woman that has ever inspired me to the point of like, like Brene Brown's amazing, all of them are amazing, but I'm like, there's a book out there that's missing for people on how to lead and how to enroll. And that's why I'm writing my book. It's called Unicorn Team. So I'm excited about it.
That's one I'm going to be looking forward to. What would you say coming out of the sugar cane fields and the trip you've made? What are the most amazing experiences that you would say that you have had, other than the 3 kids and the family and things like that? Amazing experiences, like I pinched myself that I was here, or that I was around, or that I met, or that I got to see or participate in. When you look back on your life, what are high points for you?
Mm-hmm. Well, recently, in the last few years, I've taken, except for during the pandemic, I've taken a yearly pilgrimage to the south of France. And I'm not actually, I tell people I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. And so I call myself like practical woo. Yeah. And so I do believe in intuition and all the things, but I also believe in practical doing, as you can tell. I'm not, just spouting inspiration and motivation. But where I get a lot of inspiration is from, there's a place in France where Mary Magdalene is is buried. And I go there for spiritual invigoration.
Yeah, there's a special about that I saw this week.
Yeah. And it's really, really special. And first time I went there, I felt, like sometimes you just feel like you're home.
Right.
And it's one of the places in the world that I feel home at. And
it's so cave,
I make it a point. Mm-hmm. It's a cave. Yeah. It's a grotto. Yeah. It's really, it's like a meditative, and one other thing that successful people say is they meditate. I'm not a good meditator. I like to say my meditation is going to France every year and sitting in that cave. That's kind of my way that I just download, things that I need to kind of be focused on. So I would say that to me rings the most true for me. I mean, I've had amazing experiences in my life. I've traveled to many places. I'm so grateful for that, but that's probably the top.
And how did you get there the first time?
I was actually, a friend invited me and she was running these retreats there, but it wasn't a retreat. It was just me and her. And I had this amazing experience. And I thought I have to go here every year just to kind of, go to the places where you get fed inspiration and motivation. I think it's really important. So whether it's a place or it's listening to a person or all of the above.
That's a great place for us to kind of come to a conclusion here is, you've got to keep yourself centered and excited and you got to take care of yourself. And only you know how that works. And you can't be working all the time. You got to be replenishing.
Yes.
And I bet you had to learn that lesson.
For sure.
Did you ever run into a brick wall out there? Just where you had to say, "I've got to change my maniacal ways here."
Oh yeah. I mean, there's many points, but all the points that I mentioned in this talk together, where I had those big pivot moments, every single time I fell into depression, anxiety, and burnout. And one of the things that I had promised myself when I left, when my business fell apart in 2008, I made a pact with myself that I would never, or try to never, allow it to get that severe. And so I have been I have so much space around me, Larry. I don't work Mondays and Fridays.
Yeah.
I read, I make space. I do my own nature walks. I do things solo that I enjoy.
Yeah.
And I always say, like, if you want to have that kind of space, then be a great leader, because then people will do the work for you, and then you can be reserved, because we are the asset. I would say, like, you're your most important asset, and you have to protect the asset. And so that's my main mission in life, is to protect this asset until I'm ready to die empty. So.
Yes, because the leader, where you can't get away from, the leader is the center of the nuclear reactor, which is the business, and you like to set the business up to where it can run without you there all the time, but you still got to have the center, the pulse coming out of the center of that nuclear reactor, it's got to be there. And the healthier and energized that center is, the more it's going to ripple out throughout the whole business. So you got to take care of yourself. You can't apologize or feel guilty when you're taking care of yourself, and you need to, give yourself some space or reboot. So thanks so much. This has been fun. Jennifer Kim, writing a book and emptying herself and passing on her hard-earned wisdom. And I'm going to give you the last word, a chance to give us a last word for the ones who've been listening to this and enjoying it like I have.
Well, I guess what I would say in closing is, don't be afraid of failure. Failure has so much fortune in it, and take more risks and feel worthy enough to ask questions of people you admire.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Jennifer. And Merry Christmas. Hope you and your family have a great holiday, and looking forward to maybe we can talk again when the book comes out.
I would love that. Thanks, Larry.
Okay. Thanks.
I'll make sure I send you a copy. All right. Bye, everyone.
Please do. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thanks for listening to the $1 Million Mastermind. If you felt there were any valuable takeaways from this episode, please take a minute and leave us a 5-star review. Your feedback is important and really helps us get the word out to a wider audience. Remember, we have a valuable webinar that is absolutely free. Register for it right now at whitealumwinning.com. Thanks for listening.